is ordinary till you see the core side of it.
And what you're looking for is the story behind the news.
We bring it to you from Lagos, the commercial capital of Nigeria.
Giving you all sides and political stories round the clock.
Every detail from the start line to the final whistle.
CoreTV News, expanding your view.
Welcome to CoreTV News on the Hour. I am Martins Dixon. The federal government has sacked all resident doctors in the country. The statement was given by the Deputy Director of Press, Federal Minister of Health, Isiaka Yusuf. The federal government said it had to do so after exploring all avenues to end the strike, which it said had compounded the health crisis in the country. The resident doctors were unceremoniously relieved of their jobs after the Minister of Health, Onyebuchi issued a directive terminating the residency programs for doctors in the country until further notice. The National Association of Resident Doctors says that they described the directive as unfortunate and say it will be resisted. Dr. Moruf Abdusalam said the development has, however, stalled the training of doctors in the country, which he says there are about 60 centers across Nigeria, and each of the centers has 200 doctors in attendance for training. Another nurse who attended to the late Liberian-American Patrick Sawyer in Lagos has died from Ebola. She is the third Nigerian and the second nurse to die after making primary contact with Sawyer on arrival in Lagos. The federal government has confirmed the fourth mortality in Nigeria but declined to identify her. It also noted that the number of confirmed cases in Lagos is 10, not 11, as earlier announced. The number of Nigerians placed under observation in Enugu over possible Ebola virus infection is down to 6. This was after 15 out of the 21 people in quarantine were cleared. Also, the number of confirmed Ebola cases in the country has risen to 10. The report.
Until a few days ago, the Ebola virus was restricted to Lagos. But after one of the nurses that treated the index case traveled to Enugu, government officials informed Nigerians that 21 people were in quarantine. Now, the health minister has come out to clarify the situation in Lagos and Enugu.
This morning, 169 persons are under surveillance in Lagos. The number is going down now because all the 169 now are secondary contacts. We have completed the 21 days maximum incubation period to observe primary contacts. So we have allowed those primary contacts who have not shown any sign of disease to be. And so all the 169 contacts presently in Lagos, as at this morning under contact, are all secondary contacts. In addition, we have 6 contacts in Enugu. As of yesterday, we are following on 21 of them. But after the very stringent and rigorous interview, we found out that 15 do not qualify as contacts.
He also revealed that the nurses may not have infected anybody aside from her husband.
You can only infect people when you have symptoms. So the fact that she went by public transport posed no danger to anybody. And she has spent days before she had the first symptom in Enugu. So she didn't infect anybody on her way to Enugu. I want to make that clear. When you don't have symptoms, you don't infect anybody. But on her return journey to Lagos, both of them traveled in special ambulances. So they did not have the opportunity also to contaminate anybody from Lagos to Enugu.
The health minister also gave Nigerians some hope by saying that only secondary contacts are under surveillance. But in spite of that, the government is not taking chances. It insists that there is still work to be done to ensure that Ebola virus doesn't take root in Nigeria.
Still on health matters, the Dangote Foundation has donated 150 million naira to stop the spread of Ebola virus disease in Nigeria. The managing director of the foundation, Adiambo Odaga, says the fund is meant for the establishment of an emergency center in Lagos.
After bilateral discussions with the Honorable Minister and his team, Dangote Foundation has funded the establishment of the Ebola Emergency Operations Center in Lagos. That is being done through a grant from the foundation of just a little over 150 million naira. The strategy that our chairman is deploying is a strategy to respond and to commend government for the effort and to show that all Nigerians are concerned. We're continuing to talk to the ministry about what additional support can be offered. And we also have been approached by several parties who are interested in partnering with government, and we will continue that discussion.
Residents in Liberia are calling for hospitals to reopen as they struggle to deal with an Ebola epidemic. Many health workers have been struck down by the disease that some hospitals have been forced to close, affecting not only those suffering from Ebola, but others needing treatment for other ailments.
The government already prioritized the hospital because we can keep the hospital closed. Not every disease that comes to the hospital or patients that come to the hospital have to come down with the disease of Ebola. There are other related diseases that are non-Ebola, and these people should be privileged, that cardinal right to be treated as a citizen. So we shouldn't keep the hospital closed because of this. So we need the central government to give all necessary support, especially to the hospitals, so that we can keep the doors open. Because we must provide safety for our staff, for ourselves, and those who are providing care for.
I just want to say this to our president, Madam Ellen Johnson Sirleaf. Please try to open our hospital so our people can start dying from Ebola, because I don't think this is Ebola. But our people are dying because the hospital remains closed down. Anybody gets sick, even from malaria, you die, and they say that's Ebola. So I'm asking Madam Ellen Johnson Sirleaf to please open our hospital.
When we get sick, you know, we're doing the self-treatment because the closure of those government hospitals around, so we can go to the various pharmacies around or clinics to get medication, self-medications.
Northern delegates to the national conference say they have achieved their aim of protecting the interest of northern Nigeria. The delegates had few days ago raised allegations over plans to elongate President Goodluck Jonathan's tenure. But speaking at a press briefing after the final report was adopted, they maintained that they succeeded in getting the conference to drop draft constitution from the final report.
All we wanted was remove the title draft constitution, submit it and keep to what we did, which was proposed amendments.
By the grace of Allah and the consultation and through the wisdom of our leaders here, there were always ways out for us. So we thank the conference management, the team, for listening to us. At least at the end of the day, today is a very successful end. For the North, we cannot compromise the unity of the North. I'm very happy that at least for this conference we have seen that we can work together. We have no way out but to work very closely to ensure that the interest of the North is always protected.
The All Progressives Congress has accused the Department of State Services of partisanship and unprofessional conduct over its actions and comments on the recent election in Osun State. The party's National Publicity Secretary, Lai Mohammed, said the spokesperson, Marilyn Oga, should be properly trained and given the necessary exposure so she can speak with knowledge and facts instead of making baseless and incautious statements. APC said by spearheading the mass arrest of its leaders and members in Osun before and during the governorship election, and by preventing the rally planned by the NLC in support of Governor Arebeshola from holding, the DSS has decided to pitch its tent with the PDP instead of staying neutral. It described as a tissue of lies the allegation by Oga that the party tried to bribe the DSS with 14 million naira before the election, wondering why the DSS did not arrest the official who offered the alleged bribe. APC said it is important to educate the likes of OGA and indeed the entire DSS that election is not war, but a celebration of democracy. Hence, DSS agents should drop their hoods and hide away their menacing guns when next they are posted to police an election anywhere in the country. You're watching CoreTV News on the Hour. We'll take a break. I'll be back shortly. Stay with us.
You can now watch CoreTV News live from anywhere in the world on our website, www.coretvnews.com. Click on Live TV on our website and watch us live.
And welcome to CoreTV Primetime Days.
To follow us on Twitter, click on Twitter icon on our website. On Facebook, click on the Facebook and YouTube to see all our previous news production. You can also watch us live on YouTube. Click CoreTV, leave a space, then News. CoreTV News, a 24-hour news station.
Welcome you to From the Ivory Tower. And happenings around the country, varsity teachers get to air their views. Students are actually not left out. We bring you intellectual ends from the events happening around you. It is dedicated to educating the populace with a spice of entertainment.
From the Ivory Tower, Tuesdays, only on CoreTV News.
Outside Nigeria, Ukraine said it is sending its own aid convoys to the war-torn east of the country as wrangling continued over a mammoth column of Russian trucks rumbling towards the border. The International Red Cross will distribute the aid to people living in rebel-held areas, the statement said. A spokesman for the Ukrainian government says 15 lorries will leave Kiev carrying around 240 tons of aid, following a government pledge of roughly $750,000 in urgent assistance for the civilians living in insurgent-held territory. The announcement came as controversy swells around nearly 300 Russian trucks heading south towards the border. While Moscow says they are loaded with humanitarian aid, Ukraine has raised fears that the lorries could be a Trojan horse, bringing military help to pro-Moscow insurgents in the country's east. Kiev suggested that it will allow the aid to enter the country after inspection by Ukrainian border guards and foreign monitors. And that's the news on this hour. We'll have more news on top of the hour. Do join us then. Next is Core Digest.